Good morning. In the previous lecture, we have studied different parameter to evaluate the performance of evaporator. In that, we have studied about the steam consumption, steam economy, and capacity of evaporator. In that, we also study boiling point elevation and which is used to evaluate the boiling point of solution at a particular concentration and pressure with the help of During rule. In today lecture, we will discuss method of operation of evaporator. So the evaporator are operated in two different way. One is single effect evaporation. The second is multiple effect evaporation. In the single effect evaporator, we have only single unit, and material has to pass through this single unit of evaporator, and we get a concentrated solution. But on the other hand, in multiple effect evaporation, we have a series of evaporator, and we give feed to a one unit and then concentrate solution from the first unit feed to the second unit and so on. So in that we have a series of evaporator and we get concentrated solution from each unit, and at finally we get most concentrated solution from the last unit. Now first of all, we will start single effect evaporation, and we discussed general calculation required for such unit. So let us consider we have a single unit of evaporator in which we have a feed. So this feed enter into the evaporator and get vaporized, and we take vapor out from this stream and the concentrate from the bottom. On the other hand, steam is provided as a heating medium, and this steam give energy to the solution and get condensed, and here is outlet of condensate. So this XF, TF and HF are mass fraction of solute in the feed, temperature of the feed, and the enthalpy of feed. Similarly, steam, which is indicated by S, and this PS is pressure of steam, TS indicate temperature of steam, and this HS indicate enthalpy of steam. Similarly, vapor phase is represented by V, and this YV is mass fraction of solute in vapor phase. T1 is temperature and HV is enthalpy of vapor. And other component are also expressed in the same manner. So if you observe here, this TS is same for both steam and condensate, because condensation is a phase change process in which vapor phase convert into the liquid phase. So this phase change process takes place at constant temperature. So we assume that we are providing steam at we are providing saturated steam, and we are getting saturated condensate. So in that case, this temperature will be constant for both steam and condensate, because both phase are at its equilibrium, its saturation state. Again, this temperature in vapor phase and concentrate are same. Again the same thing, because the phase change occur at constant temperature, that is the saturation temperature. So here vapor phase and concentrate both are maintained at temperature T1. That temperature is saturation pressure or temperature of either vapor or solution, whatever you can take, because both temperature will be same. And the second is mass flow rate of steam and condensate will also be same, because here steam is used to transfer energy only, and there is no mass transfer. So whatever steam we enter, the equal amount of condensate we get at the exit, because here steam is only getting condensed, and we get condensate at the outlet stream. So if we apply material balance, then this mass, there is no mass loss or gain during that process. So this mass will be same for both steam and condensate. Now if we apply energy and mass balance, then first of all we will apply material balance. Then if we apply material balance on the feed, then the amount of feed in will be equal to amount of vapor out plus amount of concentrate out, because we give feed to the evaporator. Out of total feed, some amount get convert into vapor, and the remaining amount come as a concentrate. So the total feed will be equal to total vapor phase plus concentrate. Now this is overall material balance, and if we apply solute balance, then we have to multiply each component by the mole fraction of solute. So the mole fraction is already given. The mole fraction of solute in feed is XF. Similarly, mole fraction in vapor phase is YV, and in concentrate XL. So we are multiplying mole fraction, then we can get solute balance. So this is solute balance. Now if solute is non-volatile, so the amount of solute in vapor phase will be negligible, or we can say there will be no solute in vapor phase. So this term will be 0, because this YV equal to 0. So the final solute balance will be this one. Now if we apply heat balance, then we have total 5 stream, 2 inlet stream and 3 outlet stream. Now amount of energy in by these 2 stream, and amount of energy out by these 3 streams. So this, in the left hand side, the amount of energy in the evaporator, and in the right hand side the amount of energy out from the evaporator. So this one is due to feed, and this one is due to steam. Again this one is due to concentrate, this one is due to condensate, and this one is due to this condensate, and this one is due to vapor. Now if we rearrange that equation, because here the S is common in these two terms, so if we take this S as common term and rearrange that equation, then we can write this equation in this form. Now this HS minus this small hs will be equal to the enthalpy of condensation, because what is happening here, we provide steam which get condensed and release energy. So the amount of energy released by the steam will be equal to heat of condensation. Now our assumption is that the steam is available at its saturation temperature, and condensate is also at its saturation temperature. So the only energy transfer is due to heat of condensation only. There are no sensible heat. But if the steam is superheated, then we get sensible heat plus heat of condensation. But if steam is at its saturation temperature, then there will not be sensible heat in this case. Similarly, if this condensate is subcooled, so in that case total energy will be the heat of condensation plus sensible heat. But if this is all again at its saturation temperature, then there is only heat of condensation. So here we are assuming the steam and condensate both are at its saturation temperature. So they only energy transfer is due to heat of condensation only. So this HS minus small hs can be written as S into lambda. Here lambda is heat of condensation, the only energy which is transferring through this phase change process. So we can write this equation in this form. Here this lambda equal to Hs minus Hs. So energy lost by the steam will be equal to the mass into the heat of condensation, or S into Hs minus Ss. Now what is happening? We are injecting steam which get condensed into the evaporator, and we get condensate. So during that process it release uh, heat of amount of energy equal to heat of condensation. That energy is transferred to the solution. Now the total amount of energy transferred to the solution will be equal to this one, and this is possible if there is no energy lost by the evaporator. So in that we are assuming whatever energy released by the steam will be gained by the solution, and there is no energy loss. So the amount of energy gained by the solution can be find out using this equation also. Here this Q equal to UA delta T. Here U is overall heat transfer coefficient, A is area available for heat transfer, and this delta T is the temperature difference between the hot fluid minus cold fluid, that is Ts minus T1. So this is all about a single effect evaporator. Now in case of multiple effect evaporator, we have a series of evaporator connected, and material has to pass through different units, and at the end we get concentrated solution. The vapor which contain latent heat are generally discarded in an evaporator, thereby wasting energy. So this vapor is used as a heating source in the next unit of evaporator. So this is the key feature of this multiple effect evaporator, but it can be used as steam supply to another unit operating under lower pressure and temperature. So if the pressure is decreased, then the boiling temperature will also be decreased, because whatever energy vapor generated from first unit, if the second unit also operate at same pressure, then this unit do not this vapor do not have sufficient energy to vaporize the solution. So in subsequent unit we decrease the pressure, so that the boiling temperature will also decrease, and we can utilize this vapor to as a heating medium in second unit. The vapor from the second unit can be further used as steam supply to a third unit operation at a still lower pressure and temperature. Each unit in such a series is called an effect, and the method of reusing the latent heat is called multiple effect evaporation. In the case of multiple effect evaporator, the economy increases at the cost of capacity, and the operating cost is same, but the capital cost, repair and maintenance cost increases with increase in number of effect. Now this is an example of multiple effect evaporator in which three evaporators are connected in series. So we give feed to the first unit and steam as a heating medium. So in the first unit this feed get heated up and release some vapor. So it pass through this separator, where the vapor phase is separated out and the concentrated solution is collected at the bottom. So the vapor release by first unit is used as heating source in the second unit, and here the concentrated solution from the first unit is a feed to the second unit. So this one is the feed, and the vapor generated from first unit is a heating source in second unit. So again this solution release vapor, and these vapor are separated from this separator, and at the bottom we get concentrated solution, and at the top we get vapor. So again these vapor are used as heating source in third unit, and the concentrated solution again go to third unit, and again it converted into vapor, and these vapor are separated out, and concentrated solution is getting over here, and the vapor phase at the top. So in subsequent unit we get more and more concentrated solution. In first unit we get some concentration due after release of vapor. In second unit we get more concentrated solution. In third unit we get more concentrated solution, and at the end we get highest concentrated solution, and which is our desired product. And at the last we get vapor, and these vapor are normally discarded. Now there are multiple method of feeding. There can be forward feed, backward feed, mixed feed, and parallel feed, that we will discuss one by one. So in the forward feed, in all the unit, the steam flow or the heating fluid movement is similar. That is, the heating fluid move from first unit to second unit, and so on. So here we are, first we will, if we talk about heating medium, so we are injecting steam to the first unit, and the condensate taken out from here. Now the vapor generated from first unit is feed is heating source in second unit, and we get condensate at the bottom. Again vapor generated in second unit is used as heating source of third unit, and we get condensate. Similarly, vapor generated in third unit is used as heating source in fourth unit, and we get condensate. So there is a forward movement of the heating fluid. And as far as our main solution is concerned, so we give feed to the first unit. This feed is partially vaporized and release vapor, and the concentrated solution is over there, and this is will feed into second unit. Again it is partially vaporized, and the concentrated solution is feed to the third unit. Here again it partially vaporized and feed to the fourth unit, and at the end of fourth unit we get this thicker liquor as a output. So the movement of the feed is in forward direction, so we can call them forward feed. Now the pressure of these unit are in decreasing mode, means here pressure is highest. Here we have vacuum, more vacuum, and more vacuum. So the pressure in subsequent unit decreases. So pressure is decreasing, so the movement of the fluid is automatic, and we do not require any external force for the movement of the fluid. The fluid move automatically due to their pressure difference. This arrangement is simplest, and no need for any pump to transfer liquid from one effect to the effect, as the liquid flow in the direction of decreasing pressure. This unit is useful if the feed is hot, and use if the concentrated product may be damaged or may deposit scale at high temperature. So here the highest concentration of the solution is in fourth feed, but here temperature is minimum. So if the product deposit scale at high temperature, then we can use this, because highest temperature is in this evaporator, where solute concentration is minimum. On the other hand, in backward feed, the steam flow is similar. That is, we provide steam over here, get condensate, then steam move to second, get condensate, fourth, third, fifth. So in all the effect, this stream movement is same. The only difference is the movement of the solution, the main solution. So in backward feed, we give feed to the last evaporator, and it move in backward direction. So we give feed to first last unit, where it partially get vaporized, and the concentrated solution feed to third unit, where again it get more concentrated and go to second unit, and then finally in first unit, and at the end we get thick liquor from the first unit. So this is backward movement. This method require a pump between each pair of effects, since the flow is from lower pressure to the higher pressure. If the liquid is very viscous, then we have to adapt this arrangement for better capacity. This technique is advantageous in case of feed is cold. Now, sometimes we use mixed feed. For example, in this case, we are giving feed in the third unit, and then this thicker liquid move to fourth unit, and from fourth unit the liquid move to second unit, and then first unit, and finally we get output from the first unit. So this is mixed feed. So this arrangement is combination of forward and backward feed adapted for best overall performance. Another method is parallel feed. So in parallel feed we give feed to individual unit. As you can see, we are giving feed to individual unit and taking out thick liquor from each unit. The steam movement is same in all the unit. So we will not discuss about steam movement. The fresh feed is feed to each effect simultaneously, and the thick liquor is taken out from the same effect separately. So in this arrangement there is no transfer of liquid from one effect to the another effect. So this is a real picture of evaporator. So here you can see there are three units. So this is three effect evaporator, and here you can also see this is also a three effect evaporator, in which we have three evaporator unit. So this is all about this evaporator effect. Thank you.